Hey, all my awesome West Seaford students, Mr. Forson here, and I have an important question for you. Have you filled a bucket today? This week, we're continuing to talk about kindness before we move soon into having specials, just highlighting one special a week. That's going to be a little bit different. A lot of your teachers that are doing the specials for PE or library or art or music or counseling, we are also teaching students during this time because of all the stuff that's going on with COVID. So we're kind of having to change some of our workloads so that we can make sure that we're providing the services that we need to students. So I hope that you are a bucket filler. A bucket filler, if you're new to West, you probably have never heard this before, but I want you to pretend that everybody carries an imaginary bucket around. Now, this is a real bucket, but I want you to pretend like you carry an imaginary bucket. And something that can happen is you can be what's called a bucket filler, right? You're doing happy things to fill somebody's bucket, or you can be dipping from somebody's bucket and leaving it empty, making them sad. So those are two real emotions. And sometimes we need to see a visual, right? To realize that our actions can either make somebody feel great or they can make them not feel so great. We can either be a hero or we can be a villain. So we're going to start today by first reading a book about being a bucket filler. We don't want to be bucket dippers. Dippers are people that dip into someone's bucket of good feelings and you take them out with hurtful things or doing things that aren't so positive. So we're going to start by listening to that book. So sit back and relax, and then we're going to talk about how you can be a bucket filler by choosing to be a hero and not a villain. So let's watch that story right now.
How Full is Your Bucket? For Kids. Written by Tom Rath and Mary Reckmeyer. Illustrated by Maury J. Manning. Felix was putting one of the last blocks on his tower when his little sister came in. "I want to build with you," she said. Felix scowled. "Go away, you're too little." "I'm big. Stay back, you'll knock it over." "I can be very careful." "Go play with your baby toys, Anna." Whack! "Grandpa!" Grandpa shook his head. "Felix, you just dipped from your sister's bucket. Like everyone else, Anna has an invisible bucket. When it's empty, she feels bad, but when it's full, she feels great. Didn't you ever notice your own bucket?" Invisible bucket? Sometimes Felix couldn't quite tell when his grandfather was joking. But the next morning when Felix woke up, there it was, a small gray bucket floating above his head. When Felix came down to have breakfast, his mom was in a hurry. "I've got a meeting this morning and it's almost time to go. Anna, sit still." Felix slipped and choco wheat scattered across the floor. "Felix!" yelled his mom. "You should have used the stool to reach that." Felix could feel his bucket tip and big, invisible drips spill out. Drip, drip. "Ha ha ha," Anna laughed as she crunched the cereal with her shoe. Drip. "Get the broom and clean that up before you miss the bus," scolded Mom. With the school bus honking, Felix quickly swept up the choco wheats and grabbed the last blueberry muffin. But before he could even take one bite, Buster jumped up and grabbed the muffin from his hand. Drip. "Hey, look at Felix's new backpack. My baby brother has one just like it." Drip. "Psst, Felix, psst." Drip. "Watch out, shrimp." Drip. It was still morning, and Felix's bucket felt almost empty. As he watched his classmates walk into the room, he secretly hoped they would trip and fall. That's what it feels like when you have an empty bucket. Felix slumped into his seat and waited for something else bad to happen. Mrs. Bumblenickel walked slowly up to his desk and handed him a paper he could hardly bear to look. Felix, you wrote a wonderful story. Would you please share it with the class? Felix grinned and felt a big drop land right in his bucket. Drop. Drop, plop, plink, drop. The Giantosaurus Who Wanted a Pet by me, Felix. The class grew quiet. They laughed at all the right places and oohed at the scary parts. When Felix finally read the end, everyone clapped. Even Emily, who sat next to him and didn't usually like dinosaurs. Felix felt a whole shower of drops land in his bucket. Maybe the day wouldn't be so bad after all. Drop. Team captains today are Veronica and Felix. Drop. Nice cow. It's a dog. Well, nice colors there, Felix. Cool laser ant backpack, Felix. By afternoon, Felix's bucket was nearly full. At recess, when he looked around, Felix suddenly realized that his grandpa was right. Everyone else had a bucket too. Let me help you. Drop, drop. Here's your baseball. Catch. Drop. Thanks, dude. Drop. Hi, I'm Felix. First day. Drop. Yes, I'm a mare. Drop. The strange thing was that for every drop he helped put in someone else's bucket, he felt another drop in his own bucket. When Felix burst in the door after school, he shouted, "You were right, Grandpa! I do have a bucket, and I understand how it works!" Then he saw Anna's torn doll. "Bad dog," he almost scolded. But then he thought, dogs might have invisible buckets too. "Your doll will be okay, Anna," said Felix. "Mom will fix her. Until then, do you want to help me build the tallest building in the world with my blocks?" And so they did.
So, welcome back. So, I hope that you're going to be able to say that we are bucket fillers and that we fill buckets, no dipping. So, with that, let's talk about some ways that we can do that. One thing is to talk about the difference between a hero and a villain. So, I know many of us have seen superhero movies. We might have our favorite superhero. Think of who your favorite superhero is right now. And I'm going to give you a second to think. In 3 seconds, you're going to shout it out. So, 3, 2, 1. Who's your superhero? Mine is Captain America, because he does such a great job at loving America and loving people and trying to do the right thing for everybody. So let's talk about heroes and villains. So the first thing we need to remember is that a hero helps people and a villain hurts people. So being a hero, when you help people, you're filling their bucket. You're putting helpful things. You're putting good feelings into their bucket. When you hurt people, you're making them dump out those good feelings and you're dipping from their bucket. And we want heroes at West Seaford. Saying nice words. Saying nice words is something that a hero does, but saying hurtful words is what a villain does. If you don't have something nice to say, you don't say it at all. That's what my parents used to always say to me. Because sometimes if we don't think first, we let out some hurtful words that really are dipping from people's buckets. And sometimes we don't even mean it. We're just really angry with them. So we have to learn how to calm down, walk away, and maybe come back later when we can think clearly. Heroes stand up for others. Maybe it's because you see someone picking on someone, or you see someone being left out, or that they're being treated poorly. You stand up for them. You don't allow that to happen. Maybe that's because you go and you include that friend and get them out of that situation by saying, "Come play with me," and you walk away with them, right? Or maybe it's that you step up and you just say, "Hey, I'm not gonna allow that to happen." That doesn't mean we fight. It means that we stand up for them. Because sometimes if you're standing up with someone, the person that's putting the other person down, like the villain, they'll walk away because now they're afraid that there's too many people looking at them. They like to have power. Right? They like to feel good because they pick on someone weaker than them. That's what a villain does. They put other people down. Heroes will treat others fairly. They won't be unfair about the rules or treat them differently because they look different or act different. They're going to treat them fairly, just like every other human being. But a villain, they're not going to. They're going to do the opposite, and they're going to treat you unfairly, and they're going to dip from your bucket. If you do what's right, you're going to be filling the bucket for your teacher. Your teacher has a bucket too. And when you do what's right, when you do your remote learning, when you are honest about something that happens to your Chromebook, when you tell the truth about something that happened in the bathroom, you're doing what is right. And that fills their bucket. A villain, they do what's wrong. And they choose to do that and dip from people's buckets. A hero is selfless. That means that they don't think of themselves. They put other people's feelings first. They put their needs first. Maybe they like a game, so they go, you know what, I can play my game at home all the time. I'm gonna let you pick today, right? A villain is very selfish. They only think about themselves, and that dips from people's buckets. Making others feel good is a hero. I hope that that's what you're doing. You're filling other people's buckets by making them feel good about themselves, making them feel happy, smiling, saying kind words, pumping them up even when they get an answer wrong, that you're filling up their bucket. The thing that villains do is they make others feel bad. They make them feel bad about themselves. So I want you to choose to be the hero and not the villain. Because when you choose to be a hero, you are filling the bucket. So be a bucket filler, not a bucket dipper. If no one's told you today, I want you to know that I love you. The teachers at West Seaford love you. We care about you. We miss you if you're 100% remote. We can't wait for the time when we can be back together and we can maybe be a little bit more normal or used to what was normal than we are now. And we just want you to know we really care about you. So have a